The game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network. We're always around the corner from everywhere. And Morning Espresso is always brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. I'm Jason Longshore. Busy Friday as we get ready for the first weekend in February. It's Super Bowl weekend. Some big games around the world as well. Some big stories going on around the world. Let's dig into it in today's Espresso. A little bit of a preview of some stories to come. Yesterday, Madison Cruz and I had the opportunity to sit down with Ronald Hernández and Adrian Gill. Long interviews with both of them, which was awesome. A big time thank you to everybody at Atlanta United for setting it up, and especially to Ronald and Adrian for taking the time to answer all of our questions, even though I think with both we had a whole lot more on the list, but it was just such a good conversation. You'll be able to watch those on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and make sure you're subscribed, youtube.com/soccerdownhere. You can already read one article from the conversation with Ronald Hernández at soccerdownhere.net. Plenty more to come, because especially with Ronald, I feel like we've gotten to know him so well over the years, and he's always such a great conversation. It's not an interview with Ronald, it's a conversation. And it's always a joy to catch up with him, and he gives you so much in these conversations. Go check out the article that's up now. We're going to have clips on our social media channels, on TikTok, on Instagram. Make sure you are following everywhere at Soccer Down Here. But I'll give you a little bit of a summary, a synopsis here. This is about, for both, and I think they both have very different perspectives on it, with Ronald being here for as long as he has and Adrian just arriving. It feels like for both of them individually and also for the club, it's about building its next chapter around responsibility. You know, Ronald is one of the longest serving voices in the locker room right now. He talked about everything with the clarity of a player who understands what it means to be counted on, not just in good times, but in bad times too. He said that the city of Atlanta has asked him to become, his time here has asked him to become a trustful guy, somebody you can count on. And he talked about how his leadership has been shaped by his family, by his faith, by the daily discipline of just showing up. When things get spicy, he's there. When things get tough, he's there. When things are good, he's there. It's an interesting situation right now with Atlanta United, with a longtime club leader in Brad Kazan no longer in the locker room. Hernández talked about how leadership is not really one figure at the center right now. He said it's a collective standard spreading through the squad, with veterans and newcomers sharing the responsibility across languages, across backgrounds, across ages, across roles. He also talked about carrying Venezuela with him, both as identity and as purpose. He talked about how his faith grounds him through adversity, and he talked about what consistency has to look like for him and for the squad in 2026. He wants this team to be aggressive. He wants them to be hard to play against. I asked him about what Matt Edwards told us earlier in preseason, and his reaction made me so happy. Go check that one out. I'm not going to give that one away. You know, it's a guy in Ronald who is always so thoughtful, and it's not always about himself either. He's so thoughtful about the group and what the group can become. Adrian's story is different. You know, he's young. He is new to Atlanta, but there's a lot of similar themes here. You know, Adrian Gill talked about his journey from Colorado to Spain, talked about what it was like when Barcelona expressed interest in bringing him into La Masia. He talked about the challenges he faced after he tore his ACL just as he was getting into the mix with the first team. And he talked about why Atlanta and why now. He talked about this being the first kind of true beginning of a first team professional chapter. He spoke about learning what you do yourself is much less important than how the team moves together, that Barcelona education. He compared the game to, you know, the human body, life, where every part depends on other parts. It's not just about one person. He played in the preseason match against Lexington, and he described how his early minutes were really less about nerves and more about comfort in this system that Tata Martino has, which has so many similarities to the Barcelona system that Adrian grew up in. Now this preseason calendar accelerates. Atlanta United will head out to Texas later today. 3 matches in the next week. It starts on Saturday in Houston against the Dynamo, moves to Frisco, Texas to face the New York Red Bulls on Wednesday, and then FC Dallas on Saturday. Then it's straight into match week 1, regular season opener in Cincinnati 2 weeks from tomorrow. Final stretch of preparation. The next test is all of these themes, all these conversations that we've been able to bring you during preseason and you've heard elsewhere. Leadership, structure, shared responsibility. How does all this translate now into that competitive rhythm of games and games and games? We're going to have a whole lot more from these interviews with Ronald Hernández and Adrian Gill rolling out all weekend long across the SDH network. Let's stay in MLS preseason, but we're going to go to Barcelona, not in Spain. We're going to go to Ecuador. Inter Miami's preseason tour arrives in Guayaquil on Saturday night. Lionel Messi and company will face Barcelona SC at the Estadio Monumental. Locally, this match is being framed as a landmark event. It's one of those rare moments where one of the biggest stars in the world steps into one of South America's most passionate environments. For many supporters, this isn't just a friendly. It's a night where it feels like football history is visiting their city. For Barcelona SC, it's about more than the opponent. It's about the occasion. Fans have spoken in Ecuador about what they hope to see, not only goals or highlights, but just the little small gestures, that make a night like this special. A wave, a salute, a moment of recognition from Leo. It's a reminder of how deeply these kind of events live in the emotional fabric of a club and a community and just our culture of what we love in this game. The scale of the event has also demanded some pretty serious preparation. Reports in Ecuador describe heightened security planning, major logistical coordination, and economic ripple that stretches well beyond the stadium. And you got global attention to Liga Pro and Barcelona and the game in Ecuador. It's huge. That's a big deal, but it also brings some practical realities about hosting a crowd the size, the spectacle, because you're getting this intersection of sport, of commerce, of culture. And for Miami, all of that is yes, part of it, but it's also just part of the preparation for a season. These matches got to build some fitness, got to sharpen some cohesion, got to test the group before the competitive calendar arrives. Tomorrow night in Guayaquil, it's going to feel like a big event, but it's also just a step for Miami. So how they balance that will be interesting. Let's go to Morocco. This has been pretty fascinating over the last bit of time. After the AFCON tournament, you started to hear some rumblings about frustrations with Walid Regragui, and you had some, in my opinion, overreactions from pundits saying that he should step away. Well, now it's sounding like he might just do that. Reports from Foot Mercato say that he has submitted his resignation, and it has not been approved yet. It's not been accepted yet by the Moroccan Football Federation. It hasn't been denied either. It's a bad situation because we're talking about the 50-year-old manager for Morocco who took them to the semifinals at the last World Cup. We're talking about this 4 months away from the next World Cup. Yes, Morocco got to the edge of a long-awaited continental title. They got to the final and they lost to Senegal. Yes, that match had a lot of chaos in it. And that match has reportedly hit Regragui on a deeply personal level, I think, along with the criticisms that have been very unfair. So he rebuilt this program. He took it from really where they were not an African powerhouse, and he takes them to a semifinal. He rebuilds them into an AFCON finalist. Yeah, they had a ton of expectations hosting the tournament, but that should not result in him leaving, in my opinion. So he is still in charge right now. The officials at the Moroccan Football Federation have to figure out what they're going to do next. Are they going to accept the resignation, or are they going to hold him to his contract? It's not even possible at this point. You've got a really difficult situation here with the World Cup and with the pressure that I think you're dealing with here. It's crazy that this is what's happening at the moment. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's going to be trying to get this team out of the World Cup group stage, and he's done it before. Why would you let him walk now? I'm baffled by this, and we'll just have to see where it goes. Let's go to Spain. Spanish authorities moving closer to formal punishment in the latest racist abuse case involving Real Madrid winger Vinícius Jr. During Madrid's 3-2 Copa del Rey defeat at Albacete last month, a supporter threw a banana towards Vinícius from the stands. It's a very disturbing example of this repeated targeting that he has faced in recent seasons. According to reports from Marca, the Spanish State Commission Against Violence, Racism, Xenophobia, and Intolerance in Sport has proposed a 1-year stadium ban for the individual identified, along with a €5,000 fine. It's not a ban just of that stadium. It is a ban that would apply across all sporting venues in Spain. I do like that aspect of it. I think 1 year is too low. I think the fine is too low. I'm not sure what you can do legally on the fine part of it. But he should be banned for a much longer period of time than just 1 year for what he did. I'm glad it's starting to be taken seriously, and I think when these things happen, it is important to talk about the punishments that are being faced, because maybe that becomes a deterrent for some morons who want to behave in this way publicly. It needs to be talked about what they are facing when they do get busted for it. And with all of the cameras now in stadiums and the conversation about what happens, the repercussions of these things. Yeah, this needs to be the norm to hopefully deter people from doing this more and more, because I feel like it is at least coming to the fore more and more. Maybe because we're hearing about it, maybe because of media. That's a good thing. It needs to continue. And when people are punished, we need to talk about that as well. It hasn't been fully ratified yet. Final decision expected in the coming weeks on this one. Let's bring it back to the domestic focus. James Rodriguez, the move to Minnesota United, is very, very close to getting done. Could be announced today. That'd be huge for Minnesota. He would be there through the World Cup, potentially longer. Huge for Colombia, huge for James. Big deal for Major League Soccer and for the upcoming World Cup. The US U17s, they opened qualifying with a statement win, 8-0 over St. Vincent and the Grenadines. First half hat trick from Aaron Medina. The U.S. squad is at the top of Group F. They will play next against St. Kitts and Nevis on Saturday, and then the Dominican Republic on Tuesday. Vancouver, they have signed Senegal forward Cheikh Sabali from FC Metz, signing him through 2028-29 with an option beyond that. Liga experience, strong production in France as well, international pedigree with the Senegalese national team. Sporting Kansas City, they have signed 15-year-old midfielder Zamir Loyo Reinaga to a long-term MLS Next Pro deal, putting him on a pathway towards a first-team debut next year. He's the youngest player in SKC2 history. He has represented both the U.S. and Mexico at the youth national team stage. NCAA, they are considering coaches' challenges on replays. They could see a big shift here. This would be for the upcoming season. 2 coaches' video challenges per match. It's a proposal right now, and we're seeing this happen in Youth World Cups. We're seeing it happen in some leagues in the world, the kind of modified VAR setup. There's a few other rules proposals that are in front of the committee as well. We'll see what gets approved for college soccer for the upcoming fall. Don't forget this morning, John Nelson, he's got you covered on SDHAM. Greg Garza joining the show, our good friend from Beyond Goals Mentoring, former Atlanta United and U.S. men's national team fullback. He's going to talk about Atlanta United, but also about mentoring and what he's been up to throughout the preseason, involved with helping young players kind of acclimate to Major League Soccer. Then in the second hour of the show, John Arnold, one of the leading voices covering CONCACAF, he will stop by for a deeper look at the Champions Cup, everything else going on all around CONCACAF. If you are not subscribed to his Getting CONCACAF newsletter, you're doing it wrong. You need to go ahead and get subscribed to that. It is essential reading every edition. The refill, some news from around the world. We'll go quick. Ademola Lookman, he made instant impact in Spain with Atleti. He scored on his debut, 5-0 demolition job of Real Betis in the Copa del Rey quarterfinals. David Hanko, Giuliani Simeone, Antoine Griezmann, Thiago Almada, our old friend, also scoring goals. Lookman assisted Griezmann's finish. Griezmann, it was a great 1-2 with Almada. Griezmann's shot was saved. Almada came through and finished it for his. And now, Atleti, they are going to face Barcelona in the semifinals of the Copa del Rey. The draw was earlier this morning. First leg will be next week at the Estadio Metropolitano. The other pairing is an explosive Basque derby as Athletic Club meets Real Sociedad. The final is set for April 18th in Sevilla. Julio Enciso scored twice as Strasbourg beat Monaco 3-1 to reach the Coupe de France quarterfinals. Strasbourg will host second-tier Reims, the only remaining club outside Ligue 1, still alive in the competition. Rodrigo, he is going to miss both legs of the Champions League playoff against Benfica after his red card for dissent earned a 2-match ban. It's a big blow for Madrid as they go into the knockout phase against Benfica with little margin for error, and they lost that last time against Benfica, so 2 games against Jose Mourinho, and this could get very, 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 very interesting. Leicester City, they've been docked 6 points after an independent commission found they breached profit and sustainability rules by £20.8 million. Oops. The club called the punishment disproportionate, but the commission ruled that a sporting sanction was necessary to protect competitive balance because it had been multiple years of these breaches. Neymar, his return is progressing, but Santos is not going to rush him. Their manager, Juan Pablo Voivoda, he said that Neymar's back training with the group after his December meniscus surgery, but the club's not going to push him into action too quickly. He is focused on getting back to full strength, and he is focused on the 2026 World Cup. Francesco Totti, he could return to Roma. Claudio Ranieri, who's very close with Totti, he has suggested that Roma's ownership is considering a potential return for the club legend. Talks are ongoing. The Friedkins view him as a symbolic ambassadorial figure. Totti wants a little bit more of a hands-on football operations role. We'll see if they can come to an agreement here. We go to Argentina, the Copa Argentina, always fun. Temperley had a 2-0 lead over Barraca Central, and Facundo Bruera scored twice to level it. Went to penalties. Barraca Central prevailed 4-3 in the shootout. They move on to the next round of the tournament. The second division in Brazil, they are introducing promotion playoffs starting this year. It's a pretty big format change. 2 of the 4 promotion spots, 4 promotion spots is a lot. 2 of them are going to go through playoffs. The top 2 will earn automatic. Clubs finishing 3rd through 6th will compete in a home and away postseason matchup for the remaining spots. Increases the late season stakes, keeps the full 38-match campaign as a foundation. Going to be a fun one to watch. Playoffs in Brazil could be absolutely wild. And our old friend Tito Villalba, he is reportedly set to join Barcelona SC as we tie it back to Guayaquil. Reports in Ecuador say that he is close to signing as a new reinforcement for the squad. You remember Tito for some of his golazos here in Atlanta in the first couple of seasons of the club. He would bring some leadership, some experience to the squad. He's had injury history throughout his career, really, especially over the last few years. He was last with Peñarol in Uruguay. We'll see if Villalba maybe is in the stands tomorrow night to watch Inter Miami face off with Barcelona SC. February, man, that's when the calendar starts to turn quickly. Preseason becomes sharper here in MLS. You get the big nights in CONCACAF and the Champions Cup. Now we've got the youth qualifying tournaments. And the next stretch of the season around the world starts to come into focus. We got plenty more coming this weekend from Ronald Hernández, from Adrian Gill. Don't forget SDH AM. If you can't catch it live this morning, you can always catch it on demand on YouTube, on Twitch, or the podcast edition. Just make sure you are subscribed on all of those platforms. Thanks for starting your day with us. Enjoy Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl this weekend and all the footy that you'll be watching all over the place. And we'll see you around the corner from everywhere on Monday.